Boom.
Hi, my name is Dr. Helen Benigni, and I'll be teaching a course called Female Divine in Myth, History, and Culture. Um, this course traces the evolution of the basic archetypes of the goddesses of life, death, and regeneration as they evolved from the Paleolithic era to the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. The focus on the Creatrix in our Creatrix Studies program and the regeneration goddesses in Western Europe and the Mediterranean reveals attributes in the matricentric cultures that allowed all forms of the goddess to flourish as part of an expression of the female divine in myth, history, and culture. This general description of the course leads you to some of the objectives of a course. The course objectives are to understand the intercosmic connections of the creatrix, and more importantly, to pull back the layers of the Iron Age, where the goddess was demeaned and often put down in several senses, to look back further into time, where we find a much more powerful figure of the female divine, meaning the creatrix herself. I do this, which is by looking at the mythology of the Greek Attic calendar and the colony calendar of the Celts, and looking at the goddesses in the constellation. Both of these calendars of the Mediterranean and Europe have basically four pictures, each for one season in the sky, of the myths of the goddess. Um, my book, The Myth of the Year, traces these, and also um, the books that are suggested in the suggested reading, since such as The Goddesses in Myth, History, and Culture will be used, as well as my text, The Myth of the Year. And basically, the course schedule, there'll be four sessions, and in March 2nd, March 9th, March 16th, and March 23rd. And each of these sessions will take one of those seasons, explain the stories in the constellations. And because the constellations were traced in the Iron Age, we have to pull back the layers to see the original stories in the Neolithic and the Paleolithic. And these stories coincide with the archaeology of the Celts in Stonehenge and Callanish, and the archaeology of the Greeks in their temples, so that using history, using astronomy, and using archaeology together give us a very clear picture. For example, we'll start with the grain mother in the Eleusinian Mysteries in the fall, Demeter, and her daughter Persephone. Look at the Homeric hymn. Again, peel back the layers, where Persephone is raped, to back to an earlier culture in Crete and in Eleusis still, where the cave art reveals a very poignant picture of mother and daughter and the maturation of the daughter. Then in the winter sky, I'm sorry, and the constellations that parallel this are Cassiopeia, Andromeda, Taurus, and then importantly too are the priestesses represented in the night sky by the Hyades and the Nereides in these myths. Then in the winter, we'll look at Artemis, and again back through the constellation of Orion that Artemis gave to Orion, to the earliest Paleolithic images of the constellation of Orion as a goddess in the night sky. The spring goddess, again, more information on the star cluster priestesses, especially those priestesses that became the Maenads in Greek mythology, and those priestesses that follow Berenice, another star cluster. And then finally, in the summer, the most powerful goddess, the creatrix herself, as Hera, Yera, Pariwa in Linear B, is seen in the great constellation of the Summer Triangle, the Milky Way, and the stars of the summer sky. So the course takes you through the year with a picture of each of these goddess cultures and peels back the layer of the patriarchy to show us the much longer time period where the creatrix was observed.